What? A container ship in Seattle? I thought they all disappeared and we were going to have empty shelves. Oh, there it is. Guess what today's date is? May 12th, 2025. Oh, containers in the port. Plenty of them. Wait, hold on. There's more. Oh, containers, hella containers. And you see that bit right over there by the cranes? That's another ship. Plenty of commerce still happening, folks. Don't believe everything you read on Facebook. Seriously.
Hello, everyone. This is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Just 2 years ago, the Port of Los Angeles was overwhelmed with cargo ships. Today, it's eerily empty. Reports are saying imports have plummeted by 35%. The cause? A 145% tariff being placed on Chinese goods, leading to canceled shipments and empty berths. This isn't just about the port. It's about jobs, businesses, and the products that we rely on daily. Make no mistake, the slowdown here is a warning sign. The ripple effects are coming to a store near you. Like and follow for more.
The U.S. ports are empty, and that's obviously because of the tariffs. And so I'm just counting down the days till people start going crazy in the grocery stores. Like, if the grocery stores are going to have less and less product because now everyone is aware that the ports are empty, meaning no product is coming in, so the shelves are going to start to, not be replenished. Yeah, people are going to start going in there and going crazy. Now, whether they buy the items in bulk and, do that whole thing, or they just grab the items and run the fuck out of the store, I don't know. But I'm not really blaming anyone regardless, because this is what the fuck happens. Like, the tariffs have literally caused the ports to be empty. If the ports are empty, let's just context clues, that must mean that there's not going to be anything to put on the shelves, because there's nothing at the ports to collect, to take to the stores in order to stock the shelves with. There's nothing there. The U.S. ports are empty. Here the fuck we are. I don't know if I'm going to have to start growing shit and learning how to farm and shit. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just seeing the pattern right now, and it's not looking cute. Nothing in the U.S. ports, bitch. I think the people are about to go crazy in these stores. I really do.
As the conversation around empty ports and shelves starts to come up, I want to talk to my people for a second. Be careful who you're watching content right now, because I'm not going to say they're fear-mongering, but they don't have the survival skills that we have, okay? I want to remind you guys to not panic buy or frantically buy. If you were not eating canned squash before, don't buy it now, because there is somebody who does. Think about the families who also cannot bulk buy to stockpile, right? We have to be mindful of our community. Do not forget your local churches, small churches, because they keep food pantries, okay, just in case you need to. Do not go to food pantries when you and your family can't survive. Do not forget that you have economic power, and this man does whatever he wants to do. So spending all your money now, buying everything up, and then not having any money is also not a good ploy. Think about the things you already have in your house. You have beans, you can put them in water for 48 hours, let them sprout, and then plant them in your garden in the back. I'll show you how to do that. Make sure you have small things like flour. Because you can make your own bread, your own tortillas, which can also make your own Doritos. I'm gonna keep showing you guys stuff we can make at home. I do want to say something that I think is a dog whistle that I did not notice before. And so one thing that I started to think is a dog whistle is the more I see content and certain African American creators talking about, and these kind of times, this is when people will be hungry and they'll get violent. Make sure you protect yourselves. They don't see themselves inherently violent, even when they are causing acts of mass violence, right? So who do you think they're talking about will be violent in these times? That is for POCs, and that is for black people. Do not speak to them people. Do not ask them people for directions. Try to make sure you don't even go to the same stores they go to, because they're going to be clutching their purses and clutching something else as well. That's just my opinion. That's what I think, because that's what history has shown us. Also, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. There are multiple local farms. This is the time for you to find out the farms if you are able, if you live in a rural kind of area where there are local farms, okay? You need to get acquainted from farm to table, okay? People keep talking about empty shelves. Where is the meat going? Yeah, But see, I know everybody lives in different types of towns and cities. So this is why when you're engaging and you're taking in information, you have to keep your mind focused on who you are, where you are in the community you already built. Because we've already done this. We've already survived worse times, and we will survive now. Good day.
So y'all port's empty? Because the port here, it's empty. What we gonna do? Can we come together and like make our own farms, build our own family compounds? Well, when I say family, I not necessarily mean blood family, because I understand family dynamics are family dynamics. Trust me, I am the blackest sheep you'll ever see. I promise you, my family will walk past me like I do not exist. I promise. And I'm okay with that, because guess what? I still exist. So, yeah, no, for real. We need to, what we gonna do? Because a day of this is like 7 days. We don't need hey, let's band together, build some farms, compounds, something. Because our kids are about to be suffering. Not just us, these children are about to be suffering. And these poor workers understand that they have families, which means it has to be that bad for them to be like, you know what? We got cash, we gonna hunker down until they pay us. Like, y'all would rather pay billions and billions than to just pay your workers their worth. What the fuck? Like, you got families too, you know, but I digress. You guys are rich, so it don't matter to y'all because y'all can afford to pay billions. Bro, what the? This shit is empty. Our stomachs is finna be empty. These stores are finna be empty. And I get up and go to work every day? As an American, we gotta do something.
So I'm at my local Target in Central Florida right now. I had to grab a couple things and I just wanted to see if there was any shortages here, and I need to show you guys. There is definitely some shortages going on because this aisle is usually packed. Like I said, this area is usually always packed, and there's multiple shelves that are completely empty. Like, just wow. I'm actually surprised by this because this Target is always stocked, and the only time I don't see it stocked is when I come super early in the morning and they're like actively stocking it. So yeah, interesting. This aisle isn't like too bad. There's only like some spots where there's not really much, but nothing crazy. This one's a little bare. Again, just like the juices are a little bare. Frozen fruit is looking more bare. A lot of like, I don't even know what's supposed to be here. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I think it's like mainly ice cream and like, frozen dinners. A lot of spots in the ice cream. It seems like mostly frozen foods. Like little dinners, like frozen meals, frozen pizzas a lot too, actually. Frozen meals definitely got hit hard. Again, a lot of like the popsicles and like ice cream, very bare. Pasta sauces don't look too bad though. The rice looks like it's a little bare, but not too bad. There's a lot of open spots in the alcohol section. Like, wow. So needless to say, there's definitely shortages, and we're probably going to see more empty shelves in the following weeks.
I think that it is a mixture of a lack of employees, number one. Number two, a lot less products on the shelves as well. And number three is panic buying. It is not just ports and stuff like that. There are other reasons why the shelves are empty.
You do realize that we can't go on like this for much longer. You do know that, right? Like, we're not sounding the alarm bells for funsies. Not at all. We're sounding the alarm bells because shit is hitting the fan and it's about to get real. You know, I would never come on here and try to scare people. That's not my jam, and I don't do this for clicks. I do this to educate people. And boy, oh boy, we really gotta come together. And they've made that almost impossible, but we have to. This is getting serious, and this is not fun and games. Let's figure this shit out. I mean, the ports are empty.
I live right off the Gulf Coast, and look, these ports, they are struggling right now. I went down to 3 separate major ports, and as you can see, these ports are all empty. They are usually filled. I'm talking about filled. You can see shipping containers right up to these gates behind me. And now there's loads of trucks around here with empty trailers. I'm talking about empty trailers. Port workers are continuously complaining about this shit down here. But there's also reports of container ships having to literally divert their course to other states. And then the fact I've been hearing a lot of reports of people not only losing hours, but facing potential cuts as well in the near future. Now this is the Gulf, of course, so I can't necessarily speak for the rest of the country, but what I can say is that from the looks of the West Coast alone and all the videos that are coming out from those ports as well, you can clearly see a lot of similarities. Plus, I'm noticing more and more by the day that products in major retail stores are taking a lot longer to restock. Not only that, but you can already notice the obvious impact of the top shelves being completely empty. Which is why I highly recommend that if you still have the opportunity to stock up, you need to. The more and more I scroll TikTok, the more I notice that people are barely even able to survive off of what they're even able to get. We as the people shouldn't have to suffer at the expense of the individuals that are making the decisions for us. Start potentially buying foods that have longer expiration dates and start eating more healthy. Focus on fruits, veggies. A lot of people don't realize how spoiled that we've truly become. And you also don't think that that shit can be easily taken away from you. I mean, I'm literally providing you with some sort of proof right now. You see those in there? Those are the only shipping containers in the entire yard. Those are the only shipping containers that have been in the yard for an entire week now. It's definitely a sign, people, and it's definitely a sign to start considering the impossible.
Did y'all hear about the ports being empty? The girls and boys are in shambles. We ain't gonna have nothing. They said by May 11th, everything gonna be empty. All the shelves, everything. Everything. Hold tight to what you got. If you struggling to pay a company, hold tight to your money. Even the banks is saying we in a recession. They understand. They understand. Hold tight to what you got. China, Hong Kong, Italy, they ain't shipping nothing over. Our ports are empty right now. Look it up. No bullcrap. And I know I've been seeing a lot lately. It's been a lot of BS on TikTok. I ain't gonna lie. It's been a lot of BS. But this is real, y'all. We in a recession. Hold tight to what you have. I would say, go to the market, get what you can. Because it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So stock them freezers up, man. We in a recession. It's real. We definitely in it. Like, everybody's going to take effect. Transportation industry, retail industry, food industry, every industry you can think of. So hold tight.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
Break Awakening, let's talk about these ports. Are they empty? Are the shelves going to be empty? And my husband, we have a trucking business, and we actually haul freight for the Virginia ports, amongst other things, right? And I'm like, your work haven't been slowing down, except for that 1 week when truck was up and down, back and forth, and the shippers, they were like a little nervous and they were holding on to the freight. And that's just with the company that we haul freight through, right? For the Virginia ports. But other than that, my husband making good money. And if you do your own research, okay, all you have to do is do your own research. You will see this. As a matter of fact, the port, Seattle port, that they are saying, is empty. That is an overflow port. As a matter of fact, my husband, I wish he could get on here. I'm gonna try to get him on here so you can hear it from his mouth. As a matter of fact, the Seattle port, he believes, is the smallest on the West Coast, if not the smallest port. So I don't understand, well, I do understand why they are creating this unnecessary chaos. Like my husband was telling me, and I was researching, but I always go to him. He said the people knew that Trump was going to be in office. And so if you research, these companies started getting that overflow supply, stocking up their warehouses. And since February, they have been pushing that because they were trying to get ahead of the tariffs. All you have to do is research. And so with that being said, you're not going to see anything until months after the tariffs have come into effect. You don't start seeing stuff as soon as the tariffs, he say tariffs. That's not how it works, right? And so you are going to see the price hike before the tariffs are really put into play. And if you're paying attention, you're seeing it now. If you're really paying attention, you have been seeing the price hikes since he came into office. Okay, this sun is sunny. It's moving around, so please forgive how it look, but just listen to what I'm saying. And so by the time that you will actually feel the tariffs, you will already have felt them. Okay, and you're already feeling them, because this is what business does. They are supposed to get ahead of the game, and they already knew that this was coming into place. So you won't be seeing the effects until months later. Maybe the fall, probably the fall, you will start really feeling it. So people are making content and just not really doing their due diligence, and they're not talking to truck drivers, for themselves that actually deal with the ports. So again, my husband deals with the ports, and I'm going to try to have him come on here so you can hear it from him. Hopefully, maybe he'll do a little Shabbat talk with you guys about, how this is going to play out. But I just wanted to come on here to really share that with you. And I wanted to come on here to say that because of all of this up and down, back and forth, and all of this emotional news that is being broadcasted, that just goes to show that everything that I taught in that prophecy versus prediction teaching, that it's working. It's working. And this is what false prophecy or false prophets or people who give misinformation.
Guys, this is a prime example of doing your own research. A lot of the things online are misinformation. A lot of them are just rumors. You have to ask people who work in the industry. They know what the truth is. They know what's going on. A lot of stuff online are lies. These people have no idea what they are saying. And I am glad that she actually said this, because it's very important. She knows the truth.
Hey everyone, I have late breaking news and good Saturday morning, including all you, Trumpers out there too. So, the ports in America have less ships coming, meaning Donald Trump's tariffs are causing a major slowdown. This is Shanghai's port. Look how many ships are out there with product on them. They're just everywhere. They're all like bunched up. These are ships that should be coming to the United States. Instead, they're over there. Now look at the port of Los Angeles. There's just a few ships. There's nothing coming in. There's no product coming into the United States. And Donald Trump's tariffs are going to cause empty shelves. Read my lips, empty shelves. I am not kidding, folks. This should be happening within a week or two. We're going to feel the full effect. So the 145% tariffs on China is also going to make prices just rise astronomically. So next week, empty shelves and high prices. Get ready.
One of my coworkers is a Trump supporter, and one of the things that they said was, if it doesn't personally affect me, then I don't really care. And that's the mentality that a lot of these Trump supporters and Republicans have, because they have the money to make sure that they can last a little longer than poor people when it comes to shortages. They have the money and the means to last with recessions, depressions, and all of these other things that are going to be hitting a lot of the poor people or poverty, people in poverty a lot harder than they are going to get hit. And right now we have ports that are empty. We have the last ship that just came in from China, the last ship that was not impacted by the tariffs. After this is when we will see the shortages on the shelves. This is when we're going to start seeing the higher prices on everything, the cost of living. And I want to ask you, how do you fucking sleep at night knowing that there are fucking kids in this country that go to school just to eat, and you just made it worse?
American ports are beginning to run a little dry. But what nobody's telling you is the reason why they're looking dry. Because they used to be flooded with Chinese exports. And if our ports here in America are looking dry, could you imagine how the ports in China are looking? Look up the images of all of the ships and all of the cargo containers that are in Shanghai's port alone. You don't have to look at all China. Look at Shanghai ports. thousands amongst thousands of ships that are disabled because they have nowhere to ship containers to. Tens of thousands of cargo containers that are filled with products that now the Chinese are having to take those items out of the containers to try to salvage some of those goods if possible. But guess what? The United States is still selling our exports. Because unlike China, 18 countries have already come to agreements with the United States on this tariff policy. And we are still working on figuring out all the little details with all of these other countries that are coming in. But how many people, other than maybe South Africa, maybe, have agreed to China's tariffs and to officially trading with China? You may get a few here and there, if that. But everybody that China has gone to has said, we're sorry, we cannot consume as much as America consumes. But on the contrary, other nations are telling us we can make what China makes.
I just want to remind y'all, I came across at least 5 different videos about these empty ports. Do not panic. We are in survival mode. You've been there. You know how to survive this. Now let me just add a little something to your repertoire. That produce you buy at the grocery store, when you rinse it off and cut it up and you throw away them seeds, save them. Dollar Tree got potting soil for $1.25 a pound. When I get home, I'm going to show y'all a video of my green onions, my scallions I've been growing with potting soil from the Dollar Tree. Don't get overwhelmed by all of the gardening videos with compost this and fertilize that and buddy plant this, and you can get there when you get there. My point is, throw the seeds in the dirt and water it. Okay? It's gonna grow, especially if you indoor growing. All that shit is for outdoor growing when you're growing in the woods and farmland type area. You know what I'm saying? That's for that. That's a little different. But if you go to the Dollar Tree and stock up on that potting soil, you can grow shit out your pots until you figure out how to till the land. Okay? But in the meantime, download them videos so you'll have them in case of an power outage. I was gonna say internet, but power outage overall. All right? I've been growing them since last year. They come repetitiously. I don't have enough room to grow everything I got, but I got seeds for cucumbers. I'm gonna cut off the edge of one of my celery stalks and replant that for growth. I got seeds from my bell peppers of every color. Any produce you buy in the store can be grown. Calm down. If you can't find the seeds, save the ones from the shit you're buying from the grocery store. Rinse them off, let them dry out overnight, put them in a sandwich bag. So when it's time to start planting shit, you can plant your own. Bread, go on YouTube, start downloading videos on homemade bread from scratch, how to make butter from scratch, how to make what the fuck ever from scratch. You'll be so surprised how simple it is and how few ingredients you need. Now, the only thing y'all need to be buying in bulk are dry grains, your rices, your pastas, shit like that. Sauces can be made. Look up how to make homemade tomato sauce, XYZ. That shit can be made. Stock up on them grains. Other than that, you can grow it, baby. Breathe. I know it's a lot of y'all out there who's scared about this shit, and I understand it. I'm not saying don't feel your feels. I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't be scared, be prepared, okay? For real shit. Like, a lot of the food we buy and consume is luxury. It's not really necessary for nutrient value or for survival. When we in survival mode, if them grocery stores go empty tomorrow, you can make you a struggle meal and be full and get the nutrients you need. It may not taste all that amazing like you used to, but you're gonna be fed enough to see another day. Get you one of them life straws now. I got me and my baby one before the tariffs hit off the TikTok shop. I don't know what it's looking like now because I ain't been shopping since the tariff shit because y'all got me fucked up. I'm not finna pick up y'all costs, you understand? But even if you can't get the life straw, look up on YouTube how to filter like pond water. I say look up filtering pond water because it's some of the dirtiest water, and if you can correctly filter out pond water, then any water you come across you can filter with the same system you use to filter pond water. You understand what I'm saying? If you can't afford to go buy the books, go to the library, find those books with like those survivalist type books that show you what plants are edible and what plants are not, and take you some pictures to have on your phone. You don't need internet to see your photos, right? Just do what you can with what you got, but don't panic. When you panic, you move dumb. You make stupid decisions because you panic and you're not thinking clear. Breathe. Trust in your higher power. Trust in yourself. All right?
Okay, she is being just way too extra. Way too extra. She's overreacting. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's really not. We will be fine. And a lot of the times in the markets, people overreact. The market always overreacts. And things are back to normal in weeks or even months. This is just fear mongering at its finest. You don't need to know any of that stuff. Just be patient and wait it out.
So I'm seeing a whole bunch of videos about the ports being empty and things like that. And obviously it's true. But I just want to tell people, like, don't panic, don't operate out of fear. We have to remember that we're going to live in this lifetime through a lot of things that are repetitive processes, meaning a lot of things we experience have been experienced before. Be smart, properly prepare for things, stock up sparingly and gradually on things that matter. But don't go taking all the toilet tissue off the shelves, please. Like, please don't go buying all the jugs of water and things like that. Down to the coronavirus, it wasn't the first worldwide pandemic. We are going to live through a lot of things in this lifetime that people have lived through them before. So I don't think we should operate out of a spirit of fear, out of panic. Just do what you got to do. Be smart. Do your research. Buy things sparingly, what you need to buy. And, we're going to get through this one step at a time. Also, you already know, as always, shout out to that 92%, man. Shout out to y'all. I hope y'all having a good day.
All right, y'all. The ports are empty. The ports are empty. There are ports all over the United States that are not getting shipments of goods, food. So that means that very soon, they ain't going to be shit in the stores. The shelves are going to be empty, baby. And I'm not into fear mongering or scaring people or anything like that, but this country is fucked. So if you want to survive, if you and your family want to thrive, y'all need to get you some heirloom seeds. I don't care if you don't get these particular seeds, but you need to get heirloom seeds because a lot of the other seeds are GMO. If they say heirloom, they're organic, you're going to grow real produce because God forbid, I'm like, this is like a cool, dope space out in Philly where I'm at. You could grow hella vegetables out here. So like, even if you don't have a backyard and you don't have grass, there are local organizations that teach people how to grow. There's all these community gardens. Start making connections with people so that you don't get caught slipping or you don't get caught without no damn food if, shit hits the fan. So I'll link it below for y'all. Make sure you and your family going to eat regardless of what the hell is going on in this country.
Is it really this bad? And the answer is it's pretty bad, y'all. But these videos that you're seeing on TikTok might not be entirely accurate. You would be hard-pressed to find any credible economist who will tell you that Trump's tariffs are not devastating for the US and global economy. They're cruel, they're chaotic, they're nonsensical. But is there nothing coming into the port of Seattle? I covered the supply chain crisis back in the COVID days, and so I'm a little bit familiar with this topic, and I thought, well, not everything is always as it seems, so I better go look up some credible journalists and see what they're saying. I'm going to stop using Google because the first search result for me was from Fox 13 in Seattle. And the headline is, social media says Seattle ports are empty, but data shows growth. That's a little bit of a spin on that's a lot bit of a spin on what's happening. If we look at a slightly less biased legacy media source from Seattle, I'm looking at King 5, which is NBC. They just put out a piece entitled What We Can Verify About Port of Seattle, quote, ghost town rumors. So Fox's spin is that like shipping is up, everything is great in Trump's America. The port did see an 18.4% increase in volume in March, but that was driven by shippers being like, shit, we better get our stuff into port before the tariffs come. They were anticipating the tariffs and therefore trying to get their stuff to the States before those tariffs rolled out. So it's an artificial bump. That video I just played for you said that there are no ships coming in after yesterday. And that's simply not true. It's not a good scene, but we want to be accurate about what we're sharing. King 5 spoke with the Northwest Seaport Alliance, which manages all marine cargo operations for the Port of Seattle and the Port of Tacoma. When you combine Seattle and Tacoma, they make the third largest shipping port on the West Coast. The two largest are in California. They also looked at Vessel Finder, which tracks vessel positions in real time. According to both of these sources, 3 international cargo ships were docked on Monday in the Port of Seattle. One is registered to Portugal, one to Singapore, and a third to Hong Kong. Northwest Seaport Alliance told King 5 that 15 more cargo ships are expected to pass through the Port of Seattle and the Port of Tacoma over the next week. So that clip claiming there are none scheduled, that's not true. 12 of those 15 ships will contain some goods from China. However, the Port of Seattle Commissioner Ryan Calkins said the future does not look as good. The last forecast I saw was forecasting out over the next 3 months, and each month was forecasted to be down 25% from the previous month. That's not good. They also noted that the cargo ships that are coming in are carrying as much as 30% less cargo than they anticipated. So not only is it going to be a dramatic decrease in the number of ships, but they are carrying less cargo. I'm going to skip down a little bit. Unfortunately, hearing stories right now of our agricultural exporters having to come back to the terminal and pick up containers full of agricultural exports to return back and store them as they wait for a customer because the sale that they had made to an overseas customer has been canceled as a result of Trump's tariff war. The port commissioner said he hopes there is a resolution in the trade dispute between the U.S. and China soon. Yeah, okay, you keep dreaming, buddy. If we don't get a resolution quickly, I think we are all going to feel a lot of pain in the pocketbook, Calkins said. The Northwest Seaport Alliance said the Port of Seattle is not a ghost town, as it was reported on social media, but it will be closely watching what happens in the next couple of weeks. Likewise, this morning, April 30th, the Seattle Times reported emptier ports, shortages, higher prices. Latest tariffs may really hit home in the next 2 weeks. The Seattle Times is reporting that since the U.S. raised levies on China to 145% in April, cargo shipments have plummeted, perhaps by as much as 60% around the country. That drastic reduction in goods with one of the U.S.'s largest trading partners hasn't really been felt by us yet, but that is going to change. By the middle of May, thousands of companies, big and small, will need to replenish their inventories. Giant retailers like Walmart and Target told Trump in a meeting last week that shoppers are likely to see empty shelves and higher prices. Torsten Slok, Apollo Management's chief economist, recently warned of looming COVID-like shortages and significant layoffs in industries such as trucking, logistics, and retail. The U.S. tariffs on China came at a critical time for the retail industry. March and April are when suppliers start ramping up their inventory for the second half of the year. They begin to fill back-to-school orders and Christmas orders. For many firms, the first holiday goods should be hitting the water bound for the U.S. in about 2 weeks. We are paralyzed, said Jay Foreman, CEO of toy maker Basic Fun in Boca Raton, Florida. They supply large retail customers such as Amazon and Walmart. He called the tariffs a, quote, de facto embargo, end quote, and said customers have been pausing orders so far. He expects them to start canceling those orders if the China tariffs stay at this level for much longer. There's a couple of weeks, then it's really going to start to hurt. We're in a period where the damage is manageable, but every week the damage level is going to increase, said Foreman. I really encourage you to go read the whole article. I will link to it in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube. But let me jump down to something that's said here at the end. They're comparing the supply chain shortage now to what happened during COVID. Remember, we were all freaking out about that. Conservatives were really, really freaking out about it. This time, this shortage that Trump is inflicting through his tariffs, it's entirely manufactured by him. It's artificial. It did not need to happen. This has the potential to be, quote, more treacherous because the longer this goes, the more catastrophic this is. COVID was littered with lots of unknowns about the virus and how long it would take to rebound. This dilemma could be eased by Trump immediately by removing the levies. He could end this nonsense today. And I would argue that Congress could end this at any day, any time. If in a couple of weeks you can't get the things you need for your business or your family, if the shelves are empty at all the stores, I want you to remember that the Republicans in Congress could have impeached and convicted Trump multiple times over for his myriad of impeachable offenses, and they are choosing not to. When your family, when your business are struggling in a few weeks and you cannot get the things that you need, please understand that none of this had to happen. It is entirely manufactured by Trump because he wants to create chaos. It is entirely enabled by Republicans in Congress who are abandoning their constitutional duty. They are not upholding their oath. They are not doing their job. Again, one more time, none of the suffering and chaos and economic hardship that we are experiencing in the U.S. had to be happening. I know it's been a really long 100 days, and it's hard to remember what things were like in October. We feel very mired in this reality, and it's hard for us to step back and say, this is all very recent, it's very new, and it's all tied to one person. None of this had to be. This is all of his making. Every government program that you benefited from that's been canceled, every policy that has benefited the American people, every bit of economic growth and stability that we had before this election has all been ripped away from us by Donald Trump and also Elon Musk. None of this had to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way going forward. All of this suffering is manufactured. All of this hardship is manufactured. It's artificial. It's inflicted by Trump. There's no pandemic. There's no global health crisis. There's no natural disaster. There's no famine or something like this. Is all one man who loves to create chaos. He's cruel. He wants to create suffering. He delights in he is enjoying all of this. And all of the Republicans in the House and the Senate who know that this is wrong, they are allowing it to continue because they are scared to stand up to him. So when your grocery store shelves are empty, when you cannot get the things that you need in a few weeks, when your family is experiencing deprivation and hardship, please remember, Donald Trump caused this. Republicans in the House and the Senate, they are enabling this hell that we're living now. They could stop this at any time. Republicans are making this happen, and they are the ones who could stop it, and they are actively choosing not to. So yeah, it's going to get a lot worse real soon. The TikTok videos may be dramatic and a little bit overstated, but it's not a great scene right now, y'all. And we know who's responsible.
A lot of these companies got ahead of the tariffs. That's the honest to God truth. They knew that Trump was going to put on tariffs, and so they got supplies ahead of the tariffs. Way ahead, months ahead of the tariffs. So now they do have the products for us, but they will still increase the prices. They're still going to increase the prices, but they do still have the products. We don't have a shortage.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.